Good morning. This is Barb from Healing Hearts, Mending Minds, and I just wanted to share a little bit more about myself, my journey, bits and pieces that I am hoping to encourage you not to do or to propel you to take the next step in your journey. You can't do it alone. I know I did not make this journey alone. I am a Jesus girl. Most definitely have not lost my faith, even everything that I've been through. So I'm very fortunate, very blessed, and sure about my faith in Him. But one of the things that I did do in living this life that was inauthentic was wearing a mask. I put that mask on because there was no room for me to share my authentic self. So, When You're Real, You Can Heal was born out of years of living this Christian life that was detrimental not only to myself as a human, but also to those around me. But it took years for me to unwrap and to unravel how I was living and how wrong I was living. So this is to encourage you to, if anything resonates with you, hopefully you will take that next step in healing your inner self. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist. All I can share is just bits and pieces, hoping that it resonates or strikes a chord with you. So that's my purpose. One of the things that I did all the time in my marriage was being verbally shut down, not standing up to truth, not speaking truth. And that truth doesn't always have to be biblical. I'm not talking Christianese. I'm talking about sharing valid opinions, valid experiences as to how you were feeling and how you were being treated, to no avail. So one of the things that I had understood by looking back is when you're real, you can heal. You have to be real at all costs. There is no two ways about that. Healing takes place when you first become real with yourself, and then you can become real with others. So one of the things that I wrote when I journaled years ago was kicking against the bottom. And that meant that for years, I was just living in this whirlpool. I could never get my footing. I was being tossed back and forth with the waves that were being thrown at me. Sometimes I could only come up for air very briefly and then get sucked back down into this turbulent way of living. But that moment came when I knew that enough was enough. And I'm praying that if you're in a situation like I was, that moment comes sooner rather than later. For years, I felt like I was falling through deep waters, trying to burst through the surface, being led by the light, but never having enough strength to break through to the top of the surface where daylight held my full attention. Only when I had had enough and hit rock bottom was I able to kick against the bottom and thrust myself to the surface, finally breaking free. Breaking free to the top of the surface where I took my first breath of air. I finally could breathe. All the time that I spent in prayer, I was listening so intently to hear God's voice, wanting that cue, but missing it all the time until that still small voice inside me said, "Get up off of your knees. You need to take action." So when I finally got off my knees and I took action was when the breakthrough occurred. I needed to take action. No more praying was going to change the situation that I was in. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm wishing you well on your journey. And just remember that change happens when the BS in your life, belief system, rises to the top like a buoy that leads you to shore safely. Love you and love others. Happy 2024.